In the 18th century, if you were a sailor or a fisherman in the North Atlantic, your life depended upon two things: salt and stone-hard bread. This isn't just a meal that we're going to make today, it's history of the migratory fishery in a single bowl. Welcome back, I'm Shana, and today we are going to make a historic recipe from Newfoundland, which is still enjoyed today, fish and brews. In the 1700s, bread had to last years, not days, and Newfoundland was a hub for the triangular trade, sending cod to Europe and the Caribbean, and bringing back molasses, salt, and rum, of course. To last the voyage, a type of bread called hardtack or hard bread was developed. Hardtack also had its place in the home, surviving the long winters when resources were scarce and you didn't want your food to go bad. So today we're going to turn 3 simple ingredients into a delicious meal. Let's get at it. This little cake of bread had every ounce of water dried out of it. You can hear how hard it is. Listen to that. Oh, it does break off. This particular bag is about 3 years old because there is no moisture in the hard bread. It lasts without going bad. So first of all, to make this meal, we want 1 cake per person, and we need to split it up to reverse the preservation process. And we're going to do that by soaking it in water for a minimum of 8 hours. This is usually done overnight, but we're going to speed it up a little bit today. And once it's covered, we can set it aside. So let's grab our knife, because you can't break this by hand. Oh, even better, let's use a wooden spoon. And we're just going to crack the cake up. You can see how it flakes. It's hard. It doesn't really have a lot of scent at this point. I don't know if you can hear that, how hard it is. And we're just going to drop it in the water. Make sure your bread stays covered the entire time with water, so just add a little bit more. You do not need to change this water, and we are going to boil the bread right in this water. So we're going to set this aside to soak for 8 hours, and now we're going to process the fish. It also has to soak for 8 hours. I'm using 1 package, which is about a pound. You can see just how dry and heavily salted the fish is. We're going to break it apart and cover it with water. And this will also soak for a minimum of 8 hours. It's best to leave it soak in plenty of water overnight, but today we're going to speed it up by draining the water in 4 hours and topping it up with plenty of fresh water. We want to try to get all of that salt out. So I'll catch you back in 8 hours once these things have soaked. Now that our fish is done soaking, we are going to put it into a pot of fresh water, and we're going to simmer this for 15 to 20 minutes until the fish flakes easily. You can see it's slimy, it smells like the sea, but we don't want to cook it in this water. So it's soft and pliable again, maybe a little mushy because it's absorbed the water. You can drain this, but I don't have a sink right here, so I'm just going to put it in my pot. See how big and chunky these are? If you try to make this with fresh cod, you are not going to get the same flavor because some of that residual salt from curing is still in this fish. Okay, so I'm going to put the salt cod on to simmer in a different stove because I only have the 1 pot here. And we kind of want this to all be done at the same minutes. So I'm going to cook this for 10 minutes and then I'm going to start on our bread. I'll catch you in a few minutes. The fish has been simmering for 5 minutes and now it's time to take a look at processing our bread. It was also enough time to get myself a nice little glass of wine. Our bread is now soft and flaky, and we're going to cook this in its soaking water by gently boiling it. So just going to dump it right into our pot. Make sure to get all the little bits. They'll still cook up fine. And we're cooking this right in the water that we soaked it in. We're going to gently heat it on medium. So you do not want to boil it or the bread's gonna turn to mush, and we do want some texture to it. So we'll just watch this and then we'll move to step 3. So our fish is still simmering away. It's got about 10 minutes left to go now. Our bread is heating up nicely. I might even turn the temperature down a little bit to medium low. I do not want it to boil. And next is the magic ingredient. We're gonna make scrunchions. Now, if you have not heard about scrunchions, it's essentially fried fat. This is treated and salted. So you want cured pork fat. And let's just take it out of the package because we need to cut this up. So you're gonna wanna try to get this uniform size. I have a very sharp knife with me, and the reason I need a sharp knife is this is the pork back right here. So that's the skin and this is the fat. So we don't want the skin, we want the fat. And I'm gonna trim away the skin. It's really quite heavy, or it's really quite hard. I'm trying not to lose any of that fat. It always comes with the skin on. I don't think there's an option to get it with the skin off. This is tough and rubbery and you cannot cut through it, so you absolutely have to remove it. You can save this and cut it into cubes and throw it into your next pot of beans, and it is going to add so much flavor and depth to those beans, and that's exactly what I'm going to do when I'm done this. But for now, let's focus on our scrunchions. So we need to make these into small cubes, about 1/4 of an inch across, and I'm just going to guesstimate. So I'm going to say I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise, and I'll cube these up. So just cut nice thin strips, and then I'm going to cut those strips in half, and then we'll make our cubes. This is the worst part about making this dish, but it is also the very best part about this dish. You cannot skip it. You cannot substitute it for anything else. It's magic. It's pure and simple magic. I didn't actually grow up making this dish. I had not had it until I went to Newfoundland a few years ago. My husband and I hiked the long, where did we hike? We went to Gros Morne and we hiked the Long Traverse, I think it was. Yeah, the longest one they had. Anyway, it was 5 days of hiking. It was amazing. The views were just out of this world. If you can backpack and have done some through hikes before, I would recommend you having done prior hiking before doing that. But it's worth every second. We hiked a lot in BC. In fact, our honeymoon was hiking, well, we tried to hike to the highest peak on Vancouver Island and did not quite make it. Due to the weather, a hailstorm came in and you don't want to be at those altitudes in the storm. But I would say that Gros Morne Long Traverse was on par with that, maybe even a little bit better. So yeah, I had this when I was in Newfoundland at that time. Of course, we wanted to try all of the local dishes, and my goodness, this is just so delicious. We've been making it as a treat ever since. It's really dense in calories, so it's not one that you're gonna make all the time. As you can see, all this fat that I'm putting in here, but in the middle of winter, it's a wonderful meal to warm you up. The fishermen would have used this as a breakfast meal. To me, it's a little bit too heavy for breakfast, so I do make it at supper time. Okay, so the salt pork is going to get cooked in a cold pan. So that's why it's convenient to heat it up right now. I think that our bread is hot and I know that our fish is almost done. So I'm gonna go drain our bread and drain our fish, and I'm gonna put them together, and then we're gonna make the scrunchions while those kind of just sit and wait, because the magic is in here. All right, I'll catch you in a few minutes. Okay, I have drained our fish and our bread, and I'm gonna put our scrunchions on. We want these to cook on low or medium low. I'm gonna start them off at medium just to get the heat in the pan. And we're gonna grab a fork, and now we're gonna put our fish and bread together. So look how good those look. Our fish is nice and flaky. You don't want it to overcook, but you do need it to be able to flake apart with a fork. So we're just going to break these up with our fork gently, because we are not looking for mush here. And I'm going to do the same with our bread. You can see it's held its shape. And I'm just going to kind of break it up a little bit. I don't want to lose too much of the texture, and it breaks apart really easily. It kind of has almost the texture of a pudding, I think. Okay, and now we're going to mix these two together, and we're just going to mix our bread and fish together. Notice how it's kind of hard to tell which is fish and which is bread. Oh, let's turn our scrunchions down to medium-low. Put the lid on this so it keeps the heat in. There we go, that will stay nice and warm. And now we're gonna focus on our scrunchions. Might turn the heat down a little bit more. We really do want this to cook slowly. And the purpose is that we want all the fat to render out, and then it's gonna essentially fry in its own fat. This takes approximately 10 minutes. And you've got time now to enjoy that glass of wine. Can you hear the change in sound as the fat renders out of these pork scrunchions? Oh my goodness. So, have a range hood. I don't have one down here. As you can see, the scrunchions are starting to get nice and golden brown. They're not quite hard yet. You let them cook for a few more minutes. I turned the heat off while I put my battery back in my camera. But you want to cook these low, because that heat, the fat will retain the heat. An exhaust fan is sort of a must, or maybe an open door. And we're just gonna let this get warm for a few more minutes. And while that's finishing its heating, I'm actually gonna plate up the fish and bread. One for me and one for my husband. As you know, I did 2 loaves of the hardtack, hard bread, and a pound of cod. So this will easily serve 2 people. Probably more. There'll probably be leftovers. But I'm just gonna divide it equally right now. Oh yeah, that's way too much for me. This is like a fisherman's breakfast meal. Like, that's too much for me. I'm gonna stop there. There's another serving left in here, I think. When I package this up for my husband, I will put the fat in separately so he can microwave that and then pour it on top. So to serve this, we're going to take our hot fat and scrunchions mixture. Ooh, it is hot. You're gonna want a an oven mitt. Can you see me through the mist? Oh my goodness. Okay. So, yes, we are going to pour this hot fat right over our fish. And put those scrunchions right in there. I'm gonna save a little bit for tomorrow for him. And that's it. So look how small, ooh, they're still hot. Look how small these scrunchions got. All right, let's take a bite. We're gonna load it up. I'm gonna make sure I get some of the scrunchions, some bread, and some of the fish. Mm. The cod is flaky and mild. The overall flavor retains like a deep oceanic saltiness to it. And those scrunchions, they're salty and porky, and it's just the best contrast. You absolutely have to try this. The fat oil on top is got this like buttery texture to it. You don't need salt, definitely. You don't need pepper. It is perfect as it is. 3 ingredients, a little bit of time, but it's well worth it. If you want to taste a maritime classic that is specific to Newfoundland, this is your dish, fish and brews. Give it a try, see what all the fishermen are talking about. It will definitely fuel your voyage for the day. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, share, tell me what you want to see next. I'll catch you next time. Bye.